There it is. Okay. Okay. Today's podcast is brought to you by Melatonin Fever Dreams and No Makeup Routines.
Today's podcast is also brought to you by Discount Cake and political frustration.
I'm your host, Madison.
And I'm your other host, Jesse James.
Yeah.
Intro complete.
We did it. Okay. Oh, I'm kind of excited to get to your second one, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we should just start off with probably the Mighty Boosh, because that was something we had just talked about, and I'm consistently excited about it.
Yeah, I feel like I need to watch more to get really into it.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like watching the IT Crowd, which is like has the same guy in it for part of it. But yeah, at first you need, I don't know, I think it takes a little bit of time to really get into it.
Do you mean Noel Fielding, the guy who like lives in the closet?
Who's like a goth vampire?
Yeah.
Who lives in the basement?
So the other part of that show that I think is really cool is that Noel Fielding does most of that art that they have, like flyby on the screen and stuff.
Oh, really?
Like as far as I've heard, he does the logo, and then he does like the drawings that they animate for the beginning, and then he and like the other art team people make all those costumes and everything.
Yeah, I think that was probably the first thing that I was really excited about with that show. It just in the first couple of episodes, the costumes are very good.
I think the show specifically attracted me to it originally. The show being a BBC show from like 2004 or something. It reminded me entirely of being in like a theater club.
Oh, yeah.
Even to the point where like some of my friends really liked that show and we would watch it together, but I've tried to show it in person to other people and it's almost impossible to like watch it with people and have it be effective because it's such a like dumb show. Like there's nothing you can point to and be like, wasn't that great? Because it's all incredibly stupid. But when you're alone and the stupidity just flows over you, it's kind of like watching most anime, especially anime TV.
Yes.
You can't watch that with other people and be like really into it very easily, but you can watch it alone and be like, oh, I really enjoy this. I get it. And I feel like the Mighty Boosh encapsulates that, like, what if Halloween and that solo watching experience was one thing and you could just let it wash over you for, 23 minutes or whatever?
Yeah, so I must have had pretty much like the perfect environment for watching it then, because I watched it by myself, and also I think I started watching it on Halloween. So
well, you were watching it on a laptop, I assume, right?
Yes, I watched most of it from my bathtub.
Yeah,
which was also good.
I think you had the perfect watching experience.
And I had a fair amount to drink also. So yes, I would say the best viewing experience I could have had.
What I used to have, well, I still do somewhere, but it's like on a drive that I can't really access. I had most of the first and second season like ripped from back when they were still like having that DVD at like Scarecrow Video, like close to where you could just pick it up and not have to search for it. And that was one of my like, I'm too drunk to go straight to sleep. I should probably watch something first.
That show is like the perfect gap filler from between those two times, from sleeping and not sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like life's about filling that gap.
Wow, that's pretty that's pretty
Profound.
deep. Yeah.
Thank you. Uh, Also, just so I can touch on it and Halloween, this $3 mummy cake thing.
Hmm.
I wanted to describe it to you because you've seen it, and
Hmm.
it's like if the entire thickness of a mummy was frosting, but the part that you don't see is underneath it. There's cupcakes that are the texture of like that green potting foam.
Ooh.
Uh, and so when I first ate one and uh, subjected people who were over to eating them, uh, it was an ordeal more than anything. They still
Mm.
taste okay, but like the frosting is almost the texture of a marshmallow,
Ooh.
and the cake
Oh my
is the
god.
texture of dust. So that mixed
That's
together is,
that's surprising to me
yeah.
that the texture would be that dry because when I look, I don't know, when I think of grocery store cakes, especially clearance grocery store cake, which this
Mhm.
was, I think very wet, like definitely not that texture, like very um moist and goopy kind of.
Yeah, moist and goopy and bitter is my usual look
Yeah.
of like, what am I actually getting when I see cakes like that?
Yeah.
But this one was like, it was like trying to turn sand back into mud so that it was like closer to a
Mm.
cake texture, but in your mouth. And so after that, I tried microwaving it for like 15 seconds because I figured this frosting seems like it was a buttercream frosting. It should break back up okay, and it'll get a little like uh, a little too like thin because that's what happens with that stuff.
Yeah.
But thin is probably better than marshmallow, and then I can
Mhm.
just sort of like have it coat the cake a little better and chop it a little bit. So I tried that, and it was horrifying. It was the worst. It tasted okay, but I think the only way to salvage what's left of it, which is half of it, is to uh, probably heat the whole thing, let the frosting run completely off it, and then like maybe bisect the cakes so that you can kind of like get a tiny dip of the liquid, and then just throw all the frosting in the garbage.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy for pretty much any grocery store cake.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, those work cupcakes that always taste like they put like grapefruit rind in them or something.
Hmm.
Those the frosting is like the kind of frosting that's meant to be like little detail work,
Hmm.
and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that buying that frosting in bulk is cheaper or something, so they'll use that like high color frosting for everything, and then it
Hmm.
tastes like frosting, but also maybe a little bit of an eraser is in those. Uh,
Nothing says happy birthday like the the slight taste of an eraser. It's
yeah,
awesome.
biting
Especially
into very good.
very, very good. I mean that you can't expect too much more of a work cupcake. That's pretty
Yeah.
much what I would expect from a work cupcake. Well,
Well,
another exciting week in cake for you.
yeah. Most most weeks are an exciting week in cake or something. So
That's
what
true.
did you recently got a French bakery next to you?
Mm, yes.
Do you want to
Um,
describe the experience?
yeah, so it's kind of like they're right now they're kind of doing the soft opening sort of thing. So
Okay.
it's pretty kind of it's haphazard when you go in there. It looks pretty unfinished. And they're also this I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out because it's actually the lady who is doing it. Initially, she just had like, she's a florist,
Okay.
and now she's branching out to coffee and French bakery, which makes sense. Like, I feel
Yeah, aesthetically, I think that works.
aesthetically it makes sense, and I feel like the overlap of those two demographics, like that probably makes sense a little bit too. Maybe. But uh yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to work out because they just seem like very different skill sets.
Hmm.
But it looks really nice. Like the coffee shop looks good. They have velvet pink chairs, which is, what I look for in a
Yeah.
coffee shop mostly. The only thing that's super weird about it, she's in such a weird, bad location. She's in this really odd strip mall that
Hmm.
has all next to each other. We have what is it? A Safeway, and then it's a Mongolian barbecue, and then it's like some weird furniture store that nobody ever goes to, and then it's a Real Life Ministries mega church, and then it's a Dollar
Hmm.
Tree, and then and then it's
It's really painting
a
a picture.
florist. I mean, yeah, it's just a really weird. Oh, and like in the middle of all this stuff is it's actually kind of a shopping mall that you can go into, but it's it's kind of similar to that one shopping mall. I think I that we were in that one time. I can't remember where we were.
Do you
I
mean
think
the
it's
Asian Mart? The the one that was next to my last place?
kind of
Like you walk in and there's a
I don't
hallway
know.
up into the main store, but there's little stores on the sides, like that kind of
Yeah,
thing? Okay.
yeah. So kind of, yeah. The whole like inside of the shopping mall is basically just one hallway, and then there's weird entrances into the other businesses. It's not very shopping mall like. But
Okay.
yeah, that's where her bakery slash coffee shop is located, and it's just I could not think of a worse place here because it's so far away from the college campus, which
Hmm.
she would obviously get some good business from. So, you
That's
know,
that uh that Kiki's Bakery that has like the uh fake Phil Hartman cat essentially from
yeah,
Kiki's Delivery Service on it. That's what their location's like at the Asian Food Center in Northgate.
okay,
Is you walk in and you can go into that, but you're basically in a large grocery store, and it's
hmm,
like that and I think a Thai food place are across the hall from each other on your entryway.
yeah,
It sounds
yeah,
similar, but that's more of a storefront and less of a sit down and eat kind of place.
yeah. It's just a really odd, not very. I mean, I'm pretty sure nothing here was very strategically thought out when people are establishing businesses and stuff. But we'll see.
Hmm.
It's the only place here that does pastries, like French pastries. So I think that alone might be enough to make it work.
I think that's probably enough to make it work.
I think so. But and they're good. Like, most importantly, they're pretty good. So I went this morning and I got a regular croissant, and then I got berry Danish, and then something called a bee sting that was basically just like a honey kind of caramelized little piece of cake, I think,
Okay.
which was pretty good.
Like a
So
piece of cake with like honey cooked over it or something?
yeah, like kind of like cinnamon rolls when they get like that glaze over them, but it's a little bit
Yeah.
hardened. Yeah, it was kind of like that sort of consistency.
So they're probably using some sort of honey demi-glace.
Ooh, how French of you.
That's my
Yes,
French accent.
it was very good.
That's all that Muzzy taught me how to do that.
Oh no. Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother episode right there.
Yeah, we'll have to set aside Muzzy time because I don't think we can fit it into the middle of a different thing.
No, definitely not. It deserves it, much like Bible Man deserves its own episode.
Yeah, those can be closer to the holidays.
Oh yeah, I would much rather talk about Muzzy and Bible Man than Jesus.
I mean, you're kind of talking about Jesus in both cases, right?
Well, fair enough. Yeah, I guess that's true. It's almost as if you can't escape Jesus.
We live in the United States, so we can't escape Jesus.
Yeah, and more specifically, I live in Idaho, so
Mhm.
it's never gonna happen for me. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this new French pastry place, and I'm hopeful for its future.
It really paints a good picture of the town you're in.
Yeah, we just got our first croissant place.
Now I
Woo!
don't have to go to the mega church only.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Conversation overheard while I was in the store. Oh, what did she say? The lady behind me went something. She was talking about getting coffee there. She ordered a coffee and she was like, usually I just go to Real Life Ministries and I just get some free coffee there, but I'm excited. You guys have real coffee.
Uh,
Okay.
that's like going to the auto parts shop and like, oh, just stopping in,
All
getting some
right.
drip.
So I'm not opposed to going to Les Schwab just for the popcorn. I think that's a fine thing to do.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I can see it.
I for one, don't hate the taste of chemical laden popcorn. I'm fine with
Yeah,
it.
we did work together. I remember.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So, yep, that's the newest from my town.
I look forward to the constant evolution of
Oh yeah,
Idaho.
I will be providing weekly updates on this business. Also, by the way, I'm gonna try really hard to um I really want to do their logo and social media and stuff, so I'm gonna try and weasel my way in there and be like,
Just
hey.
make a like Redbubble shirt that says influencer in big letters. I think you can get like sweaters off of there. So make yourself a influencer sweater and start wearing it in there.
I've seen some influencer T-shirts in some local thrift stores, and I have been very
Hmm.
close to purchasing them.
It
Because
makes
I think
you
that's
look way
hilarious.
more legit, I feel.
I think so. I think so. And I obviously when I went this morning, I did post on Instagram about it, and they follow me now. So
Oh, good.
I'm pretty much already there.
Yeah, you're like halfway there.
I'm halfway there, minus them paying me and me having any sort of actual income from that interaction. But
That
sorry.
reminded me, you remember our thrifting prior to the cow wedding? Uh,
Yes.
so that shirt that I got that's covered in horses, uh, Nick has worn that several times
Ooh,
for
yes.
like events and things.
As he should. It's an
Yeah.
excellent event shirt.
Hmm. So I feel like you should really find situations where Evan can wear an influencer shirt.
Oh, that's true.
I think it would,
That would be very good.
a lot of street cred comes with that, I feel like.
Yeah, a whole lot, a darn lot. Also, you say cow wedding really makes it sound like we attended a wedding in which two cows were getting married to each other, which would
Yeah,
also have been good.
I would have gone to that wedding too. So.
Yeah, and you've gone to a pretty good assortment of themed weddings, I feel like.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
It's
My favorite themed wedding was the one where it was a small but very religious wedding,
Ooh.
uh, and my old like art friend from like I guess it was just high school. He was getting married to a girl that I had never heard the name of until like I got the wedding invitation.
Hmm.
I think they'd been seeing each other for like maybe a few months. And I went to the wedding, and every single person who was related to them got up and talked. And like it was rough in that sense.
That sounds
But the
long.
other, yeah, the other part of it was the theme that everybody brought to it was how great my friend was. And if they mentioned the lady he was marrying, it was
Mm.
just to say that she really likes him, and that's
Oh.
it. And
Oh, you told me about this
yeah,
before. That's horrible.
it felt like they were happy to get married, and that's great. But it really did strengthen my resolve in thinking that wedding are generally kind of a sham.
I'm, I would say, a strong uh, member of that club.
Yeah.
Um, Also, this kind of reminded me of a show. You know how on Facebook now that it's terrible, they have videos, and if you click on them, it's just
Uh-huh.
infinite scroll of videos. Yeah, so I spend a lot of time looking through those because that's who I am now. And
Oh, good.
there's been one particular show um, that posts clips of, it's like a reality TV show from Australia. It's called, oh my gosh, what's it called? It's not Bridezilla, but it's something like,
Oh, is it My 90-Day Fiance?
no, it's not that,
Oh,
but that sounds equally good. It's something to do with the mother-in-law being a terrible person. And
okay.
so I have never watched an episode in its entirety. I've only watched like 2 minute snippets of this via Facebook, but it's all just like these neurotic mother-in-laws and like usually normal people just butting heads. And then in one clip that I watched, they actually had both parties on a lie detector, like a polygraph,
Uh,
which is so good. And anyway, I should just start watching the show. I have to remember the name of it, but yeah, it's really terrible.
yeah, you should let me know the name of that because that sounds like a nightmare that I might want to see
Mm-hmm.
at least a little bit of. That 90-Day Fiance show is also when I was at my biological mother's place last. The last thing we did was watch an episode of it, which ended up being 2 hours long,
Ooh,
which was a lot, and it it was like if you could turn a cringe compilation into a movie. It was
yeah,
rough.
yeah. That's. I mean, I guess that's kind of the basis of every single wedding reality TV show ever.
Yeah.
Is just take all the worst personalities and put them on give them a polygraph test. Apparently.
Ugh.
Oh,
There's
so
enough in there's enough in a relationship that isn't being coached by producers that you wouldn't want to watch most of them, but like even more than something like The Bachelor where it's like clearly overproduced, that 90 Day Fiancé show has a lot of like this seems legitimate enough, but they could
mm,
be actors. Like it's really hard to tell. And also I'm pretty sure just as a uh not a warning, but like a caveat. I do listen to a lot of Alex Jones and Alex Jones related media. I agree with none of it. It's more of a weird um I don't know, not
hate watch,
obsession.
hate
Yeah.
listen.
It's
Okay,
a
I do
hate
a lot of that
listen.
as well, so I feel less bad now.
It's a hate listen, but it's a hate listen for getting context. And
Mm.
then also Knowledge Fight, which is a great podcast that talks about Alex Jones and analyzes it as well as a good like supplemental to all that.
That's awesome.
And the thing I noticed most about 90 Day Fiancé is that if you were to watch only 90 Day Fiancé, like that episode I watched, but seemingly what they were referencing from the rest of the series, you could come to the conclusion that the world is what Alex Jones says it is very easily. It was a really weird, like, how is all of the stuff he's saying mirrored in this show but not real life kind of thing? So
Yeah.
there's a recommendation, I guess.
I mean, I think maybe the answer to everything is that Alex Jones just exclusively watches reality television and he just thinks that that is, in fact, reality. So
Oh,
in his world, he's not wrong about any of it.
honestly, most of Alex Jones's points and beliefs are based on science fiction novels and like science fiction novels for kids, which is part of it too.
Ooh.
A couple very famous ones, and then exclusively sci-fi movies from there out. You can find a very explicit movie for every one of his talking points, save for like the stuff that his side people bring in. Like, there's a guy from England who isn't worth looking up, but he is part of the reason why that whole gay frogs and homosexual semen and the
Is that
lattes thing started.
like what's his name? Is that like Milo Yiannopoulos or something?
No, his last
That's
name's
somebody
Watson.
else. Oh,
I know
okay.
his name. I mostly just didn't feel like saying it. So,
Okay, that's fine.
but yeah, Watson is a huge piece of shit too, but he's like younger and edits his stuff more, so he sounds more sane sometimes. But
Gross.
there's a lot of those. He actually, just as a quick side note, like the last couple weeks, that has turned into explicit white supremacy as opposed to non-explicit.
Hmm,
So that's fun.
that's a development.
If you want to have a quick version of the United States turmoil, you can listen to some of that.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess that could kind of work into my political frustration.
We might as well go there.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to take a what do we call it? Like an ad break? What's our what's our breaking
For all
point?
our sponsors.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's sad is I could probably at this point like recite some Squarespace website.
Uh-huh.
We're all brainwashed, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No big deal. Even
Okay.
the things that have the most freedom to be anti-capitalist still get to be capitalist to survive.
Uh-huh.
That's why it works so well.
Mm-hmm.
That'll work into my next segment, though. I am going to stop the recording, and we will take
And then resume.
an ad break, and then we'll be right back. Here we go!